Good morning, everyone. Once again, this is Black Forex coming to you with another market analysis video. This morning, we're going to be looking at USDCHF. But before we get started to break down this currency pair, we have to state that this video is for educational purposes only. This is not financial advice. But we all know why you guys are here. You guys are here to find good, credible Forex content that can help improve your ability as a trader and that can help put some extra money in your pocket, okay? So with that being said, let's go ahead and break down this currency pair. Now, before we talk about the technical analysis, let's talk about the fundamental analysis that's respectively happening with each currency. Now, CHF has been real tricky throughout this trading week. We had some poor CHF news come out around, what was it, Wednesday. Then we have also some positive CHF news come out Thursday. And that positive CHF news seemed to really had jolted its strength and started to give the currency some strength. And all the currency pairs in which CHF was on the right hand side started to go down, and all the currency pairs in which CHF is on the left hand side started to go up. Okay, so it's a little tricky because this is the thing about understanding fundamentals of economic news. It may be a news event that may give it periodic strength or periodic weakness, but that does not necessarily make it overall strong and weak. It's about news events coming out over a certain dispensation of time, making it strong and weak. So if you have several news events in which you got majority strong and you got majority positive news to negative news, then you're going to have a strong currency. If you have a dispensation of time where um, news is coming out for a currency for a particular currency, you have more negative news than positive news, then overall that currency is going to be weak. But in some periodic times, you're going to have, if you have a weak currency, you're going to have some positive news comes out about it that tends to give it a temporary strength and vice versa. If you have a if you have a weak currency, if you have a strong currency, you will have tend to have news that comes out that will make it temporary weak. So that's basically what we're getting at here because both of the news events that came out with CHF were both medium impact news. But it seems like that we are having a little bit of temporary strength with the CHF, and this can also be coupled with the positive talks coming out of Ukraine between the Russians and Ukrainians on having a ceasefire and peace talks between their two nations, which would seem like the European conflict is slowly starting to resolve itself. Okay, which is bringing a lot more confidence back to the European economy. And the CHF is one of the major three European currencies outside of the British pound and the euro, so it can be exhibiting some strength from that as well. Okay, CHF is one of those where we're going to have to keep watching to see what's happening with these peace talks, along what's happening with its own economic news events that's coming out to judge this one accordingly. Okay. But just because it's showing temporary strength does not mean, okay, this is a strong currency. It's just strong for the moment, but it's still pretty much weak overall. Okay. Now, the USD has been one of our stronger currencies heading into this trading week. We are picking up a lot of strength with the USD due to the positive news that came out yesterday with the non-farmers job report, the GDP, and we also have the interventions policies and measures and increased interest rate that's been put in place to combat inflation, which is also helping out that as well. And also the Biden administration did what we thought was going to happen with the oil. They went deep into the oil reserves that we got here in America to increase the circulation of supply of oil to help bring down the gas prices. Bringing down the gas prices gives gives people more money to spend in the stores. More money to spend in the stores means that the economy is growing, and a growing economy means a stronger USD. Okay. Now, these could be all temporary measures, but for right now, this is having an effect on the USD with its strength being positive. Okay. So, with that being said, now let's go ahead and break down the currency pair. The technical analysis on the chart. All right. So, we were going up, then we started going down, then we started to go back up. Then we started to come down some, and then we kind of halted here, which is still positive because we stopped at the area where price came up from before. Okay, so if you're looking at, if you're looking at your RSI around here, you're probably around somewhere between the 30, low 30, around the 30s, mid 30s right here. Okay, so it's looking like here we're primed for another push up. We could get as high as here or even here before we start to range out and come back down. Okay, so we're looking for a push up here and here. Okay, but if we start to get an inverse in the fundamentals in the USD, in which it starts to become weaker, and we start to see more positive news coming out between the Russian and Ukrainian talks, uh, and the from them talks, and a lot of strength in the European currencies coming up, and we start to see more positive news with the Swiss franc in itself, then we can possibly start to see price rollover around in this area here. But for the most part, we're more likely looking like we're going to have a push up to here, to possibly even here or as high as here before we start to range down and come down again. So ideally, what we're looking for from a technical analysis standpoint for this to continue to go up, we're looking for a push here, weak pathetic push down, then another push up, weak pathetic push down, and then we continue to go up. Okay. But like I said, if the USD news inverses the Ukrainian peace talks, Russian peace talks starts get a lot better than what they are, and we still continue to get more positive CHF news, we could range out around here and then slowly start having price turnover. But the more likely scenario is that we're going to be heading back towards our long position, especially once this New York session open, having a push up to here or possibly even this area here before we range, have a pathetic push down and go back up. Okay, but we can't rule out the small possibility of the scenario price turnover happens if the fundamentals start to inverse and go if the current fundamentals start to inverse and go against what's currently happening right now. Okay, hope that information was helpful for you guys. Happy trading.